Okay, so welcome. So this little short tutorial is something that I promised I was going to deliver to you during our summer meeting. And if this is about actually a short tutorial about the application that I created and some of the features that I've actually added since. And so the QR code will take you to that application, so you can scan that. If you don't have access to it, the QR code will take you there. And exactly where? It will take you to the economic analysis suite that I created. And there are some really big changes that I've made actually since even the summer meeting. And I want to highlight some of those changes and walk you through this here as quickly as I can. So hopefully I want this to be a kind of a short, concise video. But so the Executive Briefing Central, that's what I've sort of created since. And you'll notice that there are two sort of major sections now. This Executive Briefing Central, and the second are these analytic tools that you saw during the summer meeting. So what's the difference? The Executive Briefing Central is going to be a place where you just basically have the most current briefs. And so they're going to be just, very much like short executive summaries on different types of economic reports, labor market conditions, Federal Reserve, press conferences. And so if you go there, you'll actually land on a blog type page, and these will be updated as new reports come available. So here we've got the BLS report. This came out July 3rd. As new reports come out, you'll see these kind of repopulate themselves. And I will say that these reports are actually generated by OpenAI. And so it's all automated, and they should stay current. I will also add to this a blog that I will write myself. I'll add something about the current economic condition, and that will be all under executive briefings. Now, if you want to have more control over the types of analysis that are available, okay, so if you're more into making some more analysis your own, that's where these analytic tools I've created here are going to come into play. So there's a few of them. I'm going to run you through the Economic Pulse and international markets, and let's just walk through that. The main thing, so Economic Pulse, this is really going to focus a lot on macroeconomic types of things. So if we come down to market intelligence, market intelligence is the first tab. If you were to click there and look at the summaries, that's actually a lot of what is going to be contained in the executive summary sort of portal that I talked about earlier. I'm going to add obviously my own little summaries in there also, but most of that are these summaries. Here you can actually do a little bit more. You can look at some more types of, just add more questions, or even, this is kind of a cool tool, Ask the AI Analyst. You can actually click that and then type in your own questions. Now, why do this? What's the lift? The lift is really that this is pulling from the most recent authoritative sources. So instead of going to, you can rely on Bloomberg or other types of news outcasts. The thing is that you're always going to get someone's spin on things. Okay, so this is pure news. This is purely from authoritative sources, and you can type in your questions right here. If you want to have even custom questions, you want to go beyond the summary and ask a question about how any of these conditions are relevant to any type of sector or geography, or you have questions about how inflation outlooks look. Anything you want to type in here, you can type it in and click Generate Analysis, and it will actually take these different sources and answer your question. So I think that's kind of a cool tool. Okay, so that's market intelligence. And these actually also are going to be, these reports that these are based on are going to be updated in real time. I've got scrapers that are pulling this off in real time. So you'll always get the most recent and current stuff there. Now, when I go to GDP dashboards, this one was actually, so this is GDP on the state level. This is BEA data. And I'm giving this as, after getting some feedback about wanting some more geographic types of indicators. So yeah, sure, we can see GDP for the country goes up and down, but what does it mean in my geography? And so this again is also going to get pulled in real time. We are in Q2, or actually past Q2 now, but the release here you'll see is Q1, and that's just because the BEA got a little bit lag in their reporting, but you can see exactly how the GDP from the most current reportings have been in your geographic area with this. Okay. Inventories. This is something I'm probably going to move into the blog space, but for right now I'm going to leave it here. And this came from my presentation. A lot of it was, we talked about inventories. And so I've given you the most, again, this graph will update itself as more data comes out. And I've also included a little bit of a summary and a discussion that continues through, so you can read that if that interests you. Okay, soft signals. This is actually currently the ADP employment report. So you get the BLS reports in the market intelligence and in your executive summaries, and those are the authoritative sources. The ADP is obviously a payroll service, and they put out a very nice sort of employment report. And I think I personally like to read the soft signals and the official ones, so I put that in there for you as well. Now, something that came out of the meeting, I got a request for the industrial production index. So that was something that somebody actually had requested that I include here. And so I actually did a little bit better than that, I gotta say. So the industrial production index is right here. If you want to look at it, you can just click on that or any of these others, update chart, and you will see the index. Now you can also, and this again is in real time and it will update as new data comes. You can also look at percentage changes from a year ago or from the previous period, simple percentage changes, and transform that however you want to transform it. So that this is all available. And the cool thing is that it's not just limited to these particular indicators. If you want to type in something else in here, like, I don't know, you just want to look, so there's unemployment there, but what if I just wanted to look at employment, type it in, search, and, well, this is going a little bit slower, so sorry about that. There we go. Well, why do I get, okay, so I've got all employees. This would be all employees non-farm. You can click on it. I'm going to take off the industrial production index, update the chart, and I've got it in change from previous period. I could do in levels, update the chart. You can look at this in all kinds of different ways and actually just get this, these types of authoritative sources of data. You can also download whatever graph you make. You can click and zoom in on certain parts of it. You can do all sorts of things here to kind of play around with the graph if you like. But those are in other indicators, and those are all contained in the economic pulse. Okay, so that's one aspect. Okay, and now, so let me go back. I'm trying to really rush through because I'm trying to be respectful of everyone's time, and so we've talked about Executive Briefing Central. We talked about that. We talked about the economic pulse. The other major thing is going to be the international markets. So I want to show you this. This, I think, is a really cool tool for people that are interested in imports, or even if you're just interested in some of the import competition aspects. There's going to be some nice things for everybody here. So the overview just gives you a general overview of what's in the data set currently. I will say that the current data set is actually just for U.S. imports. I'm going to expand this. I promised you I would expand this. I will expand this. This page is going to develop more. Currently, what you have are the U.S. imports from different countries, and right now I currently just have China, Canada, Mexico, Vietnam, and Malaysia. I'm going to expand this to all countries, but I'm going to leave these kind of highlighted so that you can, I'll say I don't care about, say if I didn't care about looking at Malaysia, I could exit out. You can adjust that. The trade value is there. There's also net tonnage, okay, and trade value, and there's price per ton. Now I will say price per ton right now, there's some issues there that are still being there's some bugs in this that I'm still working, so that's not quite 100%. Trade value is great and tons should be great. And then below you've got commodities. So here I've included every chapter 73, which is all articles of metals, are available to you here, and you can type them in and find whatever you want. I've pre-populated this with some of the more common things that I identified to be more fence related. So there's some pipe and tube of a circular cross section. It's by HS code, You can, again, type in this box and type either product name. If I just wanted to write tube, you can actually, it would pull it up. And I can also type in HS codes and it would also populate, okay? So getting down to the graphs, the graph here is going to be, I'll just interpret this. This is net weight tons, and this is going to be for all of these HS codes and all of these countries. Now, if you want to look at it by country, you can just break it out simply by clicking there, and it will break it out by country. If you want to look at a more narrow sort of product, okay, in theory, I should be able to click on commodities by commodities. This one's actually working, but I'll say by commodities has been getting a little bit buggy. So if you want to look at a specific commodity, I suggest just narrowing it down in the selected commodities up here and then looking at some of the stats. Now, some of the things that actually come out when you look at some of these types of trade patterns, I'm going to include some very interesting findings in the quarterly report that will be coming out. Now, I think that these are actually very telling because you get a lot of different stories when you look at specific products and specific countries, and I think there's a lot of interesting stories there. I will tease those out and summarize those for you, but if you want to follow them, you can also just do that here. Okay, so say I just wanted to look at hollow, so tube, circular tube. I could just X these out. Say I don't want to look at barbed wire. I can cut those out. And you can just play with it to get exactly what you want to look at. And you can also adjust and slide the time window to see how far or where you want to look time-wise. There's a lot of different interactivity built in. Also, since I guess this is by tonnage still, you can see, and by country, you can see where each of the, which from which country is coming in terms of tonnage. And then at the very bottom, I've got pie charts. So this is showing it by product and the distribution of the different types of products by tonnage about what's coming in. Interesting, you can also separate that by country. So here we've got Canada, there we've got China, and you can see the differences, I guess, in trade patterns this way about what's coming mostly in from which countries with these pie charts. So that's also available. And this is going to get expanded, like I said, to include not just imports to the U.S., but it's also going to be to Canada, and I also said from Mexico. So I'm going to continue to develop this to give you more access to more trade data. And this trade data is actually coming from Comtrade. So this is the most authoritative customs sort of data that's out there that I think is publicly available, and it's also the most current. So I've looked at different sources. Some of you had actually pointed me to some other sources, and this particular data is very current as far as, you look, its last date was May of 25. So this is actually very current trade data, and it will update itself as more data is released, and that's the nice thing about this site. So that's kind of the nutshell of everything. We go back to the analysis suite. Again, I've also included a solar market. This is just mainly for the kind of market we're in right now. I talked about some of the types of some of the solar market changes that have happened as far as legislation and the impacts that are driving that, particularly with tube. And so here you can actually type in your whatever questions you have. This actually is going to pull from a very authoritative source on solar. So again, you can kind of interact with it and ask questions. It's got some geographic kind of level data. It's very specific, and I think you can get maybe some insights about solar if you're interested in that industry. And again, if you're not, and you just don't want to play with any of those tools, and that seems like too much, I'm going to have this summaries again in the executive briefing central. So that's pretty much the site. Okay, so again, I guess the main thing is that if you have any type, and I'll put the QR code back up here, so if you want to go back to the site, you can look at that. There will be a survey coming out. I hope that I can get more information about what exactly types of things that are very much interesting to you and what kind of information I can deliver. As you can see, I can pull from a lot of sources. If it's out there on the internet and you want to see like this is basically a dashboard to help you in some way. If there's anything I can put up there that's going to be helpful to you and just be pulling off the internet consistently in an automated way, and that's valuable to you, I'm very happy to build whatever it is and adapt. So I really hope to hear from you about what you need and about what was going to be the most lift for your business and how I can just best keep building things that are going to best serve you. So again, thank you for just the meeting. It was a great meeting, and I hope you enjoy the tool, and I hope to get your feedback, and I hope to keep working together. This product is very much a product in development. So it can grow, it can go in all kinds of different ways, and I really very much hope that that growth is going to be driven by you. So that's it. I thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you hopefully soon.